Sheridan with B-Stage, and I'm here with Patrick from For An Autopsy. How are you, Patrick?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good. Did I pronounce that right?
Close enough. Autopsy.
Autopsy.
Yeah.
There we go.
In America, fit for an autopsy, but I'm sure everywhere they say it a litlittle different. You know?
I could do it in British, like autopsy.
Yeah, autopsy.
Autopsy. That's a bit weird, isn't it? There we go. I got the British thing going now.
It went pretty well. Yeah, that was
There
good.
you go. Hey, so you guys are in a Europe tour with Suicide Silence right now.
Yeah.
It's quite a big lineup there. There's Murder. There's one more band, I believe.
Black Tongue was on the UK dates.
Oh, did I miss Black Tongue?
Yeah, but they couldn't make it out for, it's expensive to do.
Yeah.
So, they have a lot of things going on and a lot of plans for the future. So they were picking and choosing their battles, so to speak. So they were on the UK dates, and they're an awesome band,
They're a
absolutely.
really good band.
Yeah.
They're blowing up in the States as well.
Super heavy, and, they're doing well. Their singer's a monster, so they're a cool band. Very cool.
That's cool. So, hey, how do you guys prepare for like a Europe tour like this?
Well, I mean, there's really no preparing for tour. I mean, you can say that you have everything mapped out and, all the financials taken care of and everything like that. But the truth of it is there's a million bumps in the road. It's kind of like buy the tickets, get everything set up, make sure everything can be there, everyone can be there, and then just go and play the shows and make the money and hopefully cover everything. And if not, you get in a little hole, but there's always ways to get out. You know what I mean?
What is the worst thing that's happened to you in a Europe tour so far? Like any really bad things?
No, it's been absolutely perfect the whole time.
That's good.
Shows have been amazing. Suicide Silence and their whole crew is incredible. We got lucky. We have a really cool driver. Like everything's been super, super good. And Thy Art Is Murder are some of our very best friends in the world. And those guys take great care of us too. This is our first time touring outside the States, so it's crazy. The shows have been awesome. Almost every show has been sold out, and fans are great. Made a lot of new friends. It's been great.
So what do you think of Europe, seeing as your first time? Do you have like any views on it?
Yeah, it's rad. It's really cool. Yeah.
Is it pretty for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, the United States has a lot of areas that are green and a lot of mountainsides and, old buildings and things like that. But to come to a place where I can touch a building that's older than my country is pretty cool to think about, Like, there's a lot of really awesome things to see here, and it's awesome. Like, last night we played in Luxembourg. It's like well, it's not even a city, it's a country. It's like its own thing. It's like a country the size of like a 3-mile city. You know what I mean? It's insane, but it's cool. It's definitely different, and a whole new view on what metal means to people.
Yeah, in Europe it's very different than in the States, I've realized. But as this is being your first time in Europe, what is your fan base like over here? Like, how do you keep that going, and how do you let it grow? Drink some water.
Yeah, sorry. It's surprisingly a little more sturdy and established than we thought it would be. I mean, a lot of kids in the crowd know the words, and we get a good response every night. Like tonight, just got off stage.
It's insane, yeah.
Yeah, kids smashing each other, and
we saw that.
like people screaming the lyrics, and headbanging, and telling us that they love us. And European fans are different, man. Like America, I love our fans in America, and they're loyal and super cool. But then we have the other side of things where people get a little spoiled, because there's so many shows and so many tours and so many good bands playing all the time that it's like, oh, well, I really like that band, but I don't like that band, so I'm not going to go out to that tour. Yeah. And it's like here, kids don't care. Yeah. They just come out, support all the bands, and, maybe they don't buy a T-shirt, but they go in and watch their set. Even if they're not too keen on them, they still find a way to support the bands here. So it's kind of fun and interesting to see, America, I'm not talking bad about you. I love our fans over there.
They're less rowdy.
All of our friends in America?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
I would say that's one thing that our American friends and fans have over Europe, is that it gets sometimes
more
it's
rowdy than this?
sometimes yeah. Tonight's like a middle of the road show for America. Like, I've seen it to the point where people are piled up on stage, and amps are getting flipped over because there's so many people on stage and stuff. But I mean, it's not every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It happens.
But it does happen quite often. Here, the shows have been moderate to somewhat crazy, but I've seen some nutty stuff happen back at the States. So
but what's the whole punching thing about? What do kids do? They punch each other?
No, they don't really punch each other. It looks a lot more dangerous than it really is.
Yeah.
Most times, kids are aware. Yeah, it's like the whole moshing thing. It's kind of like so many different scenes and genres have kind of become one at this point. Like, there's no more real deathcore bands or hardcore bands or anything. It's everybody's touring together and playing together, which is really cool. I really dig that because I have roots in the hardcore scene. I have roots in the metal scene, so I like everything.
Yeah.
I mean, mixed tours are awesome. Like our headliner coming up we're going to do a headliner hopefully middle of next year, and we're going to have a couple of metal bands and a couple of like heavier hardcore bands on the bill just because it works.
And that's in the States?
In the States, yeah. I can't really give away too much right now because we have a bunch of stuff coming up in the States, but I can tell you that next year is going to be very busy for Fit for an Autopsy.
That's exciting for your American fans then.
Yeah.
Not so much for us because we won't see you anymore.
Well, I don't know that. I mean,
maybe
who knows? If this tour pans out well and the money's there next year, I mean, there's no reason why we won't come back. I would love to tour here once or twice a year if we could. You know what I mean? But it's not always feasible.
No,
fans and friends don't realize how expensive it is to come here.
I know. Same for me going to the States is expensive.
Imagine you going to the States times 6. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of money.
I go twice a year usually.
Yeah. What do you go out for?
Tour and work.
Cool.
So.
Awesome.
So you guys released your latest album just a little bit over a year ago called Hellhound.
Yep.
Can you tell me something about the recording and writing process of the album?
It's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
We have a 6th member in Fit for an Autopsy. He doesn't tour with us. Myself and Will Putney, who is the silent 6th member, so to speak. He's not very silent, but he just doesn't tour with us. He's
hidden.
Yeah, he's a very important part of Fit for an Autopsy. He's also a very highly sought after, well-respected engineer and producer, and he's very busy. So he doesn't tour with us only because his music career has turned into recording more than it's turned into touring and writing music too. He loves to write. So the last record, Will was very, 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 very important part of. You know, he wrote so much of that record and recorded and produced the whole thing, and he's like the brains behind where Fit for an Autopsy's headed. Will and I work really well together, and he's really smart, and he knows what he's doing. And if your band is looking to record a really solid, awesome record, Will Putney's the guy to go to.
Go to Will Putney, guys.
He's awesome.
So that's like the whole recording and writing process. How do you personally and as a band as well try and keep pushing your boundaries into writing new stuff? Because, it's hard writing new stuff sometimes for some people. But how do you push your own boundaries?
It's kind of like the idea of writing a book or, writing a series of books. You always want to keep it fresh but still maintain the same characters and, so to speak. So it's difficult to write and still sound like what we are, and maintain our fan base and also grow as a band. Because you don't want to write a completely different record, but you see an end game. You know what I mean? You see where you want to get. So you have to write records in a way that sticks with what you're doing, but slowly creeps towards that end game and isn't like a complete change. Because fans don't want your music to change. Labels don't want your music to get that far off topic that fans lose interest. So the process can be painful sometimes because you want to write a song that sounds completely different, but you can't. So you have to always remember where you're at and where you want to go and how you want to get there. So it's a tough process. It is.
Yeah, and with all these albums, do you ever feel like you do something different on each record that really stands out, or do you not?
Yeah, our first record to our second record, like Process of Human Extermination, that came out on Black Market Activities. I forget what year, maybe 2010. It came out, I can't remember exactly. But it was just real heavy, straightforward, raw, like really like rooted in the whole deathcore thing. And we just kind of wrote it in a way that we liked the music. Kids like to go see it live, and we never thought it would catch on. And then we got signed to a bigger label, and we had all this new material that sounded so different. We had to figure out a way to make it sound like what we started as. So, like I said, there's that process again. You don't want to get too far, right? You don't want to get too far away from what you are. But I think The Travelers, the last song on our CD, is such a different feel. That's the last song that we played tonight. The end is super long and drawn out and epic, and there's
dynamic,
very dynamic and big, and there's multiple people singing on stage. 2 different guitar parts, the bassist and the drummer are holding down the rhythm, and that's different for what we do. It's more towards the complicated technical side of music without going too far.
theory that goes quite deep in, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really difficult to explain. It doesn't sound as difficult as like the crazy shreddy stuff, but you know, writing music and writing a guitar part are two completely different things. You know what I mean? So we have Will to thank for that, and he's very good at it. And you know, it's different. I mean, I think every song on our record sounds a little different. Thank You, Bud Dwyer is like super in your face and really hard hitting, and then Still We Destroy is kind of like atmospheric and a little bit more towards like the traditional metal or death metal kind of feel. And then like we have like Mother of the Year, which is like a different song completely from everything else, like more like real heavy, and so it just depends on
quite a combination.
Yeah. So we try to mix it up and still have elements of each part or each sound that we do in each song. It's not easy.
Well, it sounds interesting. It's like basically music theory that makes your brain think sometimes as well. So
sure.
So you're from New Jersey, if I'm right.
We're based out of New Jersey. We kind of live all over the country.
So where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey, but I live in Atlanta now.
Okay, so what influenced you growing up? Like, what kind of music?
I was really, really influenced in my early years by punk rock and hardcore. And then, you know, that was because of my older brother, like listening to like, you know, Black Flag, The Exploited, Sex Pistols, stuff like that. And then that grew into like Bad Brains and the Cro-Mags and like stuff like that. And that grew into, you know, Madball and then New Jersey hardcore bands like Mouthpiece. And then the metalcore thing hit. But I would say somewhere around my 8th grade to like freshman year in high school, I discovered like real death metal, like Obituary and Suffocation and like the real roots of death metal, you know, early Morbid Angel stuff. And that stuff stuck with me because it was still real heavy, like some of the hardcore I was listening to, and aggressive, but it was more musicianship, less raw, and it definitely grabbed me. And then, you know, but I mean, I listen to everything. I listen to Steely Dan and ZZ Top, and I listen to
country.
I like Johnny Cash. I like that. I dislike new country very much. I mean, you can't even call it.
You got the wrong person here. Sorry.
Yeah, it's pop music. You know, it's not for me. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Justin Timberlake, like just JT and Michael Jackson.
He's got great albums.
Yeah, he's incredible. And as a musician, you're supposed to like give everything a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, I'm very, I would like to think I have an eclectic taste in music. You know, John Mayer, Steely Dan, Morbid Angel, Dying Fetus, you know, like, I like everything. I like Coldplay. I mean, everything.
I remember seeing Dying Fetus, oh God, when was like 2012? That was intense.
Yeah, they're one of those.
Even their name.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? I mean, it's one of those bands that they have a song called "Pissing in the Mainstream," and it's like it's a very aggressive song, but there's like a lot of meaning behind it. Like, hey, you know, fuck you, we're not going to do what you want us to do. We're going to sound the way we want to sound and do what we want to do. And like, I respect those guys a lot. You know what I mean? And they've been doing exactly what they do for years, not changing or budging at all, the way that they want to do it, and it just works for them.
That's really
you know,
cool.
and I think that's important in this day and age. You know,
absolutely. So you said you live in Atlanta and you're from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So is it true that Atlanta has the best fried chicken and New Jersey has the best Italian food?
All right, Atlanta has the best barbecue food.
That is true. I had barbecue there.
I would say it's Atlanta and St. Louis tied for first place.
Okay.
They're my favorites.
But Dallas would have good barbecue.
Yeah, it's not the same. Texas barbecue's good, but it's not like St. Louis is insane. And there's this place in Atlanta that's like, it's unbelievable.
Okay.
It's like
What's it called?
Daddy D's.
Okay, I'll remember that.
It's
one next there.
ridiculous. And I really like that place a lot. And as far as Italian food,
Or diners in New Jersey.
well, there's very few places that have diners like New Jersey. Very few.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different thing. But as far as Italian food goes, I'm going to go so far as to say the reason that New Jersey has the best Italian food is because we are so close to New York, and there's a large Italian population in New York, a lot of Italian immigrants in New York, and the natural progression is Queens to Brooklyn, Brooklyn to Staten Island to New Jersey. So we do have a lot of really great pizza places, a lot of really great Italian food. There's there's a place in Hoboken that I always go. I can never remember the name of it, but it's some of the best Italian food I've ever eaten in my life. But I'm going to go to Italy in a few days, so we'll see.
Oh, cool. Italy's nice.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have good food.
But yeah, New Jersey people are known to be assholes.
Yeah.
I met a couple of real big douchebags, but you're actually the first nice person. Well, no, second nice person I've met from New Jersey. So,
Well,
high five to that dude. What's the issue about this?
I don't think that people from New Jersey are assholes. I think that the Northeast has a very go fuck yourself attitude.
Yeah.
Everything has to be done quickly. It's got, you don't ever really relax. You never rest. You're working, you're hanging out, you're doing something. And it's like, if you're in my way, I'm going to run you over. You know what I mean? And I feel like the South, where I live now, they also have a kind of fuck you attitude, but it's different. It's like we're going to be we're going to be laid back, and we're going to do what we want to do the way we want to do it. And if you don't like that, you must be a Yankee. And which is fine. That's their culture, and I get it, and I love it because it's much more laid back. It's totally different than anything I've ever dealt with. So Atlanta and Georgia is really cool in that respect. But I just think that if you're not from an area, you're never going to get it until you live there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can understand that.
So while I agree that New Jersey is a pretty rough place, it's like that for a reason. Like we're between two major cities, Philly and New York City.
Yeah.
And, we have major cities. We have Trenton, we have Newark, we have some pretty bad areas. And, there's a hustle there.
I remember Camden.
Camden's one of the worst places in the world.
Warped Tour stopped, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Camden's one of those places, if you're going to a show, you go to, I think it's the Prudential Center now or something like that.
I don't remember what it was called, but I thought it was quite dodgy.
Yeah, it used to be the Tweeter Center, but they changed the name. It's, dodgy's a pretty good word for it. Yeah, there's areas that the police won't go in down there. It's pretty bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so what's next for you guys after this tour?
Well, we're going to...
from the tour that you're planning right now.
Well, we got a couple secrets going on that haven't really been talked about too much yet, but we are finishing this tour, and then we fly from Germany to Australia.
Oh, cool.
And we're doing 10 to 12 days, I think 11 shows in Australia. Fly home for Christmas, and then we're in the studio for a month recording a new record.
Awesome.
Which is going to be really great. And
What
then
can we expect of that then?
I think May 12th, sometime in May. I'm not sure exactly when, but there's like tentative dates being thrown around. But sometime May, like that area of the year. And then we have a really, really big tour coming up in the States, February to March, which I cannot talk about. And then another really big tour coming up after our record comes out, which I also cannot talk about.
Record release tour.
Record release tour. It'll be our first real headliner with a real awesome support band, which I can't really get into, but I can say that it's a band that we respect and love, and they are in one of the heavier hardcore bands, and it's going to be awesome for us to take them out. And it's kind of like crazy that we're going to be playing over them because they're really good and they're good friends. And, I can't say who it is, but we want to thank you guys for signing on and supporting us and on our first tour. And we're going to do the best we can to take care of everybody. Good. And, we got a lot of stuff coming up.
Awesome.
Hopefully some big summer things will happen, and
absolutely.
we'll see.
Hopefully
See what happens.
for you guys. Is there anything you want to share before we go?
I just want to thank all our fans in Europe for taking such good care of us, and I want to thank everybody that's come out to the shows, picked up merch. You have no idea how flattered and humbled we are to be here and get to play in front of such great crowds. And we want to thank the Iota Murder, Suicide Silence, and the Black Tongue guys for, being a part of our first run here, and, to our label and everybody else who gave us support. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. It was Romino from BStage with Patrick from For An Autopsy. Thanks.